Chapter 2. A Master of the System. The Puppeteer of Justice. Mike Krill didn't just manipulate the legal system. He corrupted it. To Mike, laws weren't guidelines for fairness. They were tools to punish, discredit, and destroy. Over decades, he had refined his methods, blending legitimate legal tactics with outright deceit. His arsenal was vast, from contracts and arbitration clauses to false police reports and fabricated evidence, and he deployed it all with ruthless precision. By the time Ben Brashen realized the scope of Mike's machinations, it was too late. The contracts he had signed, the loans he had accepted, and even the trust he had placed in Mike had all been turned into weapons aimed squarely at him. False police reports, manufacturing criminality. When Mike needed leverage, he didn't hesitate to escalate matters beyond the courtroom. One of his favorite tactics was filing false police reports. These weren't wild accusations. They were carefully crafted narratives designed to align with legal disputes. In one instance, Mike reported Ben for misappropriation of company funds, citing transactions that had already been audited and approved by the board. The police, obligated to investigate, created a paper trail that Mike later used in civil court filings. The allegations went nowhere legally, but served their purpose, smearing Ben's reputation and forcing him to spend time and money defending against baseless claims. Mike had perfected this tactic through cases like State v. Fentress, where false accusations were leveraged to delay and complicate legal proceedings. To Mike, the truth was irrelevant. The process was the punishment. Insurance fraud, a new layer of deceit. Mike's mastery of the system extended to insurance claims. Whenever a legal battle strained resources, Mike filed fraudulent claims to generate quick cash. Stolen lunches and office goods at Card Tap's office? Fabricated. A stolen personal flight to Hawaii? Never happened. Ben stealing corporate benefits? Insane. Each claim was meticulously documented with forged invoices and falsified police reports, creating an air of legitimacy. These actions echoed cases like Universal Health Services versus United States, where fraudulent claims to insurers were exposed as part of broader schemes. For Mike, the insurance payouts weren't just about money. They were about funding his legal war chest to further crush Ben. Weaponizing protective orders. Protective orders, designed to shield individuals from harm, became another tool in Mike's arsenal. Claiming harassment and threats from Ben, a man overwhelmed by lawsuits and unlikely to antagonize anyone, Mike filed a restraining order for a girl that barred Ben from obtaining important financial information that would become the crux of the case. This move, inspired by cases like Thomas v. Plummer, effectively sidelined Ben during key corporate decisions. The irony wasn't lost on Ben. He had never once threatened Mike, yet the protective order painted him as a volatile aggressor. The court filings included fabricated emails and text messages, ostensibly from Ben, that Mike had created with the help of his tech-savvy accomplices. The puppet attorneys, Wally World and Somany Words. Mike didn't work alone. His attorneys, Mark Wally World Walters and Danny Somany Words Danforth, were more than legal counsel. They were his enablers. Mark, known for his convoluted legal filings that obfuscated simple facts, and Danny, infamous for endless motions and verbose arguments, were Mike's ideal team. Together, they flooded the court with paperwork designed to bury Ben under a mountain of procedural nonsense. Mark specialized in discovery abuse. He filed motion after motion, demanding irrelevant documents while withholding critical evidence. When Ben's attorneys requested key financial records, Mark delayed, deflected, and ultimately claimed the documents had been misplaced. Courts are often slow to impose sanctions, but Mark knew how to exploit this inertia. Danny, on the other hand, excelled in creating complexity where none existed. His motions were so verbose and redundant that judges often missed the critical flaws buried in their arguments. If you confuse them long enough, they'll give you what you want just to make you stop. Danny once bragged, a strategy that played out in case after case. Manipulating discovery, lies, and sanctions. The discovery process, meant to ensure transparency, became another battlefield. Mike's team provided incomplete responses, misfiled critical documents, and outright lied about what existed. When caught, they feigned ignorance, blaming administrative errors or shifting responsibility to junior staff. Ben's legal team, working with limited resources, struggled to keep up. Every motion to compel discovery cost thousands of dollars and weeks of delays. And when the court finally imposed sanctions on Mike's team, the fines were negligible compared to the damage done. This pattern mirrored the tactics used in Zubulake v. UBS Warburg, where discovery abuse was weaponized to drain opponents' resources. Mike took it a step further, using the delays to craft new accusations, claiming Ben's inability to produce certain documents was evidence of misconduct. The false narrative. Throughout this campaign, Mike maintained a veneer of legitimacy. Investor updates, like the November 13th letter, painted Ben as a reckless CEO, siphoning company funds for personal luxuries. Emails to board members accused Ben of hiding assets and failing to fulfill his duties. None of it was true, but the sheer volume of accusations made it difficult for Ben to respond. Mike's false narratives extended to the courtroom. During hearings, his attorneys presented doctored spreadsheets and out-of-context emails to support their claims. Judges, overwhelmed by the complexity of the case, often deferred to Mike's polished presentations, allowing him to push the case forward despite its dubious foundation. The ultimate weapon: psychological warfare. For Mike, the legal system wasn't just about winning cases. It was about breaking his opponents. Every accusation, every motion, every court date was designed to sap Ben's will to fight. The protective orders, insurance claims, and false reports weren't just legal strategies. They were psychological attacks, each one chipping away at Ben's confidence and credibility. Mike reveled in the chaos. "It's not about what's true," he once told Mark Wallyworld over drinks. "It's about what they believe. And if they believe Ben's the problem, I've already won." The stage is set. As the lawsuits piled up and the court battles loomed, Ben realized he was up against more than just a cunning adversary. He was fighting a man who had turned the legal system into a machine for personal destruction. The stakes weren't just his career or his company. They were his very identity. For Mike, the goal wasn't just to win. It was to annihilate. And for Ben, the question was no longer how to beat Mike, but how to survive him.